So I'd like to start our practice with one of my favorite poems from David White, because I think it really speaks to this kind of rebirth, reemergence, awakening, especially after a period of time where we've been dormant or where we've been like brought to our knees or hibernating for whatever reason. So this is called The Journey, and we'll start with these words. Above the mountains, the geese turn into the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens, so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that small, bright, and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. You are arriving. Someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. You are arriving. And so perhaps part of our intention for practice today might be this arrival into a new chapter, into a new season, into a new way of being, and contemplating for you what has been written in the ashes of your life, the ashes of this pandemic, and feeling into that today in our practice. So go ahead and find your seat if you haven't already. Just let your eyes close here. And notice your breath. The length and the expansion of the in-breath. The release and the cleansing of the out-breath. This coming and going. This arrival and departure, this ebb and flow that is manifested by the breath. And whenever you're ready, you can begin your Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi pranayama, engaging the muscles at the back of your throat. And then on your next in-breath, let's go ahead and stretch the arms all the way up alongside the ears, reaching tall. And then exhale, gather the hands together at the heart. And we'll just move like that a few more times. So inhale, arms reach out wide and all the way up. And exhale, hands together at the heart. Good. One more like that. Full breath in, stretch it up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good. So let's go ahead and shift forward to the hands and the knees. If you've been sitting on a block or a bolster, you can put that to the side. And we'll start to move a little bit here through cat to cow, starting to move the spine. So on your in-breath, a little gentle back bend, opening up the heart, lifting the tailbone. And then exhale, round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale to open and lengthen. And then exhale to round and to really feel your abdominals, your core. Do one more of these. Inhale, a little back bend, spinal extension. And then exhale, tuck and round. Now let's go ahead and sit all the way back into child's pose for a few breaths. And just taking a moment to feel the earth, to feel the ground, feel this sense of stability and rooting. Each and every breath inviting a new experience, a new moment in time. New sensations, new thoughts and energy moving through you. And on your next in-breath, we're going to come back up to the hands and the knees. Feel the ground with the palms. Tuck your toes under and lift hips to sky, coming into your downward facing dog. Lifting, lengthening. This first downward dog of our practice, let's kind of move around a little bit. Shift your weight from one foot to the other. And then just feeling your body. You can move really generously here. And then see if you might find a place to arrive in your down dog, a place where you can ground and stabilize and root. But you can also feel the presence of your breath, kind of fine-tuning your alignment. Let's take 3 more spacious breaths here in our downward facing dog. Perfect. On your next exhale, bend your knees and look forward toward your hands. Step or hop toward the top of your mat. Flat back as you inhale, so lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold and bring it in. Good. Do that movement one more time. So inhale to your flat back, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Good. Hang out here for just a couple of breaths. Maybe ragdoll pose, or you can even reach down and grab a hold of your big toes, the first 2 fingers of each hand. And just take your time here in your forward fold. Good. And there's no rush, but when you feel ready, we're going to come all the way up to standing. So feel your feet on the ground, stretch the arms all the way up, reach as tall as you can. And then exhale, hands gather together, heart center. Good, the arms will go back up, inhale, stretch up tall. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale, lengthen out your spine. Exhale, fold it back in. And then come all the way back up to standing. So really feel your body move here in space. Reach up, maybe a little mini back bend. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Good. Arms back up as you inhale. Stretch up, lift, and lengthen. Go at your own pace. Dive forward into your fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Lengthen through your spine. Good. Take your hands down to the floor this time. Make your way to plank pose, upper push-up. So strong and lifted through your core, through your quads, through your belly. You can always modify this by coming down to the knees. And in this deep power practice, we move in a very deliberate and slow and mindful way, holding the poses just a little bit longer. Less vinyasa, less flow, and just staying in the body in sensation. Your next exhale, lower as slowly as you can, chaturanga, all the way down to your belly. Point your toes, roll the shoulders back. Inhale into your version of cobra. You're welcome to slide your forearms forward for Sphinx pose. And lower down just a little bit. See if you could even unweight your hands. So you're using the strength in the muscles of your back and not just in your arms. Take one more breath here. Good, and then replace your hands and make your way back to downward facing dog. Lift your hips up, thighs draw back, heels toward the floor. And just notice perhaps some heat starting to generate here in the body, warming things up a little bit at a time. Take another full breath here, a little lengthening through the hips and tailbone. Bend your knees and look forward. Step or hop lightly toward the top of your mat. Long lengthened spine as you inhale. And then exhale, fold and bring it in. Good, all the way up to standing on your next in-breath. Press through your feet, stretch up, reach up tall. And then exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Good, arms go back up as you inhale. And this time as you exhale, bend your knees, sitting into your chair pose. Pulling back through the thighs. Good. Take a couple more breaths here. Imagine you had a block between your thighs, squeezing in toward that midline. Sit just a little bit deeper, tailbone back and down, fingertips forward and up. And as you exhale, move into this drinking bird. So the arms will come down and back. Try to pull your shoulder blades toward one another on your back. So really working those mid to upper back muscles today. And maybe float the heels of your feet off of the mat, coming into a little toe balance. Couple more breaths here. It's okay if you shake a little bit. You can imagine that block between the thighs. Sit deeper, spine lengthening, head to tail. Shoulder blades wrap toward one another. And then let's ground the heels of the feet. Stretch the arms back up, back into the chair pose, and then dive forward into your fold. Halfway lift on in-breath, lengthen out your spine. Now let's take our hands to the floor. You can step or hop it back, plank pose. Let's hold this for a full breath. So don't feel rushed here. Slow and steady, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, little cobra pose, open through the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, everybody. On your in-breath, stretch your right leg back behind you. Reach it up to a three-legged downward facing dog. Now hang out here for just a couple of breaths. Try to square off the hips. So think about lifting up a little bit with your left hip and thigh and sits bone. Good. Now walk your hands back a couple of inches toward your foot, just to bring your stance in some. The right hand is going to stay where it is. Walk your left hand back to about the middle of your mat. You can keep the hand or the fingertips on the floor here, or you can play around with a teeter-totter down dog. Taking that left hand off of the mat. Good. Hug everything toward that center, that midline. Lift at your core. Take one more breath here. Good. Now bring your left hand back to the top of your mat. Pull your right knee in toward the chest, high plank position, but pull the knee in. And then inhale the leg back behind you, reach it up. Three-legged dog. Exhale again, pull that knee in. Inhale, reach it back up. Good, let's do one more of these. Exhale, pull it in. And now we're gonna step the foot all the way through, coming into a high lunge. So make sure the hips are square. And we're gonna take the arms and the torso upright. High lunge, all 10 toes facing forward. Squeeze those inner thighs, square off the hips, reaching up tall. Take an extra breath here, maybe deepen into the lunge. Now we're gonna bend the elbows, coming into a goal post position with the arms. And as you do that, bend your back knee at a hover. Okay, so the back knee hovers a few inches away from your mat. Shoulders back, lift up through your chest. 2 more breaths here. Maybe touching your left knee down to the floor and bringing it back up. Good. Stretch the arms back up, straighten up your back leg. Bring both hands to the ground. Pick up your back leg, come into standing split. So your left leg floats up as you fold over your right leg. Good. Breathe here. Feel the ground with that right foot as you continue to fold. You could take one or even both hands back behind your right calf for a little balance challenge. 2 more breaths here. Good work. Now take your hands back down. Step your left foot to the back of your mat. Keep the right knee over the ankle. And we're going to stretch the right arm up for a twisting lunge. Now, if you happen to have a block, you could place the block underneath that left hand, or you can even come down to that back knee for a little more support. Otherwise, really push into the ground with that right foot. Pull your right hip back a little bit. Right fingertips reach up. Turn the heart just a little more open here toward the ceiling. 2 more cleansing breaths in your twisting lunge. Good, and then release right hand back to the floor. Walk your hands over to the left and spin your feet. So you're in a wide straddle. Flat back as you inhale. Exhale, fold. Feet parallel. This is just a nice stretch for the legs, the calves, the hamstrings, the hips. Let your head go. Good. Take one more breath here. Flat back as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Walk your hands back up to the top of the mat. Now step your right foot back to plank pose. Bring your feet and your ankles right together like your legs are kind of zipped together. Shift your weight over to your right hand. Roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Shavasana, side plank pose. Strong legs, lifted through your hips, lifted through your core. You can certainly keep it here. Or maybe you take that left arm forward alongside your ear and pick up your left leg.
Good. Last breath here, everybody. Bring it back to your plank, upper push-up, lower down, chaturanga, all the way down to your belly. Now we're going to take the arms back along our sides and come into Locust Pose. We're going to lift arms and legs up away from the floor. Put a little bend in your elbows here and try to kind of magnetize your elbows toward one another. Squeeze toward that center. Strong legs, reaching through your feet and your toes. Couple more breaths here. Think about lifting up a little bit more through your heart. And release all the way back down. Now, stretch your right arm straight out to the right and come into what's called shoulder pigeon. You're going to roll over to your right side, stretching into the front of that right shoulder. The left knee can point up toward the ceiling. Now, keeping it here, or if you want to go a little bit deeper, take your left arm up, open through the arm, maybe reach your left hand to your left foot, coming into a little half bow. Good, you guys take a couple more breaths here wherever you are in your shoulder pigeon. Let's let that go. Come back to the belly. Come up to your hands and your knees. And just take a few rounds here in cat-cow, or you could take some hip circles or child's pose, whatever you'd like to here. Good. And no rush, but when you're ready, let's go back to our downward facing dog. We'll all meet up there in just a couple of breaths. Good. Now on your next in-breath, stretch your left leg back. Reach it up to a three-legged downward dog. Try to keep your shoulders and your hips really neutral and level here. In fact, lift up a little bit through your right hip and sit bone. Take another breath here. Walk your hands back just a couple of inches, maybe helping that right heel ground toward the floor. And then walk your right hand back to about the middle of your mat. So the hand or the fingertips can stay on the ground if you like, or you can play around with this teeter-totter down dog, taking the right hand away from the floor and hugging the arm alongside your body. Good. A couple more breaths here. Squeeze everything in. Lift through your core. Keep it solid. Right hand goes back to the top of the mat. Now exhale. Left knee pulls in toward the chest, moving into that high plank position, but lifting through your core, rounding your spine a little bit. Take your left leg back and reach it up. Exhale, pull that knee in. Good, one more of these. Take the leg back, reach it up a little bit higher this time. Exhale, pull your knee in. Step your foot all the way through. Coming into that high lunge. So you want to arrange the left knee over the ankle and send arms up. So all 10 toes facing forward, squaring off the hips, pulling toward that midline. Take another full breath here, maybe deepening into that lunge. And then bend your elbows, coming into a goal pose position with the arms, bending your back knee, your right knee at a hover. And as you pull shoulders back, lift up through your chest, lean back a little bit. Couple more breaths here. Maybe lowering that right knee all the way to the ground, lifting it back up. Good. Stretch back up as you inhale. Straighten up your back leg, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor out in front of you. Pick up your back leg, standing split. So feel the ground with your left foot. Stretching, lengthening the right leg up. Feel your breath here. Maybe take one or both hands back behind your calf for a little balance challenge. Nice, guys. Dig deep. Take one more breath here. And step that right foot back. So you're in a lunge. Arrange that left knee over the ankle. Right hand goes down or maybe onto a block. Stretch your left arm up toward the ceiling. And again, you always have that option of grounding the back knee. Good. So we're going to take a couple more breaths here. Pulling the left hip back just a little bit, reaching through the left arm and the fingertips, opening through the chest. Last cleansing breath here in your twisting lunge. Good. And left hand back. Walk your hands all the way over to the right side. Prasarita Padottanasana. Flat back as you inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, fold. And maybe this time around, you unweight your hands, use more of the strength in your legs and your core. You could even clasp your hands behind your back. A little shoulder opener here. Take a couple more breaths. Good. Let's release the clasp if you've got it. Flat back as you inhale. Walk your hands back up to the top of your mat. Step your left foot back to plank and bring your feet and your ankles and thighs right together. Squeeze in. Shift your weight over to your left hand, left palm. Roll to the outer edge of that left foot. Pull hips up, send your right arm up. Side plank pose. Take whatever variation works for you. Maybe stretch that right arm forward alongside your ear without dropping your hips, and maybe float your right leg up. Good, you guys. Last breath here. Bring it all the way back to plank pose. Lower slowly down, Chaturanga. Take your arms back along your sides again for Locust Pose. Now, this time around, you are welcome to clasp your hands behind your back if you want. Or you can stick with the regular version. Go ahead and lift chest and legs up. Roll the heads of the shoulders back. Lift through the heart and the sternum. Again, strengthening and opening up mid to upper back muscles. 2 more breaths here. Lift and open. And exhale, release. Stretch your left arm out to the left for your shoulder pigeon. Push over towards your left side, point the right knee up. Maybe that's where you stay, opening up the front of that left shoulder. Or you could take your right arm up, open the chest like this, or reach back and find the top of the foot with the hand. Good. Breathe here. Nice job, you guys. Last breath, easing your way out of that. Coming back to your belly. Press back up to hands and knees. And a couple rounds here, either cat-cow or hip circles or child's pose. Just move the body in any way that feels good to you for a few rounds of breath. Good. And then make your way back to your downward facing dog. And so press through your palms, lift your hips up. Take a full breath here. Bend your knees and look forward, step or hop toward the top of your mat. Extend your spine, so flat back as you inhale. Exhale, fold. Now come all the way up to standing. So reach up tall, lengthen. As you exhale, bend your elbows, open your chest, come into a little bit of a standing back bend, opening the heart. Inhale, stretch the arms back up, neutralize the spine, and then exhale, arms come down. Good. All right, guys, dancer pose, Chandrasana. We're going to work with a standing balance today. So extend your right arm up alongside your ear. We're going to shift our weight over to the right foot. Root down, pick up your left foot, and you can grab the outside like this of the foot, or you can open your palm out so it's rotating out away from the body. You grab the inside of the foot. That will open up the shoulder a little bit more. So pick one of those and then extend and reach up through the right arm. Kick your left foot back into the hand, reach your arm forward. It's okay if you fall and wobble and have to come back into the pose. Bring the thumb and your first finger together of your right hand, creating that yoga mudra. Kick back and lift up through your right hand and your left foot. Keep your gaze forward. Take 2 more breaths here. Good, and then bring it back up, release. One thing I failed to mention is that you could always do this at a wall, right? So you could push your hand into the wall and work with this as well. But it's too late for that side because we already did it. So to the other side, left arm reaches up. You can always just push pause, right? And then just come back to it. Left arm reaches up, open your right hand. Okay, so again, you can grab the outside or the inside of that right foot. Anchor with the left foot, stretch up tall. Working with this standing balance, keep your gaze or your drishti steady. Kick into the right hand, reach your left arm forward. Now bring your thumb and your first finger together on that left hand just to create a mudra, a point of contact there. And then as you kick back, draw your left hand up and your right toes up at the same time. Couple more breaths. Again, you can do this at the wall. Good. Release out of that. Bring your foot down, your arm down. Good job, guys. All right. Back to the top of the mat. Reach your arms up as you inhale. Lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Flat back as you inhale, lengthen your spine. Take hands to the ground, step or hop it back, plank pose, Chaturanga. Inhale, open up to your cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Send your right leg back, reach it up. Bend your leg, lift and open through the hip. Step the right foot through, warrior two. So we're gonna ground that back, heel to the floor, and extend the arms out wide. Hips are open, arms reaching in parallel with the ground. Keep the spine lengthening here. Turn both palms up toward the ceiling, opening up the front body a little bit, relaxing through the shoulders. Now drop your arms down and clasp your hands behind you. Roll your shoulders back and lift your chest up. Taking ostrich pose or humble warrior. So I like to aim my right shoulder just to the inside of my right knee. And then the head comes down toward the floor. Now, if you want a little bit more opening, you can shift your entire torso, head and shoulders to the left a little bit, keeping the right toes pointing forward. If you want a little less intensity, just release your clasp and bring your hands down to the ground. Okay, any of those will work. Couple more breaths here. Good. Now we're going to come back upright. We extend the arms out, straighten up the right leg. So you're setting up for triangle, Trikonasana. Reach the right arm and the fingertips forward. Bring the right hand down toward the shin or the ankle. Left arm stretches up. So really great opening for the legs, the hamstrings, the hips, and also along the spine and the torso. Feel your breath. Nice. Now we're going to look down at the floor and bend into that front leg. Make our way into half moon, Arda Chandrasana, picking up this back leg. Now, similar to dancer pose, what you could do is bend this left leg, grab a hold of the foot. So you're coming into this half bow. The only difference is you're now kind of tilted over on your side and the hips are stacked instead of square. It's, again, a very similar pose to dancer. Good. Give this one more breath. Let that go. Bring it back to your plank pose. Plank pose. And then go ahead and lower down, Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Nice job. Go ahead and come down to your knees and down to your forearms. That's right, my friends. Just when you thought there was no time for dolphin, here we go. So forearms down to the ground. Let your head go. Let your neck relax. Pick up your knees and come into your dolphin pose. You might tiptoe forward just a little bit toward your face. Keep your container, so don't let your elbows kind of splay out from underneath you. Okay, if you need to clasp your hands and make more of a tripod with your fists and your elbows, that's fine. Breathe here, utilize your core. So lift through the belly, Uddiyana Bandha. Good. Take a couple more breaths here. Maybe send a sigh or two out your mouth. Good, you guys. And then go ahead and come down to your knees and sit all the way back to child's pose for a few breaths. Giving your arms and your shoulders a break. You can even take your arms back along your sides. Good. Let's make our way back up, hands and knees. And then back to downward facing dog. So lift your hips up, stretch back through your thighs. And then your left leg reaching back, lengthen up, three-legged downward dog. Bend your left leg and open up a little bit here through your hip. Step your left foot through. Setting up for your warrior two position. Second warrior, extending out through your arms. Good. Relax through your shoulders, shoulders away from the ears, lengthening through your spine. And again, sometimes it's helpful to turn the palms up toward the ceiling. Open up this way. Perfect. Now, drop your arms down, clasp your hands behind your back, sitting up for that humble warrior or ostrich. So pull back through your shoulders, lift your chest up, and then dive forward. Again, I like to aim my left shoulder to the inside of my left knee and let my head drop down. And if you want a little more opening, lean your body, your whole upper body torso to your right. You might feel more opening in your left hip. Otherwise, keep it there, or if you need to take it down a notch, just bring your hands down to the floor. 2 more breaths here. Good. And then go ahead and make your way back up. Come back upright. Warrior two. Straighten up left leg. Both legs straight. Setting up for Trikonasana triangle pose. Reach the arm forward, the rib cage forward, tilt it over. Left hand down. Right arm stretching up. Again, really great stretch and strengthener for your legs. Feel the ground firmly with both feet. Lengthen through your spine. Try to stack that right arm and shoulder directly over your left arm and shoulder. Full deep breaths here. And then setting up for our balance, Arda Chandrasana or half moon. So you'll shift forward onto that left leg. Send your right arm and right leg up. Now, same thing we did on the other side. You can either keep it here or work into your half bow variation. Similar to dancer pose. So bend your right leg, grab a hold of the foot. Kick back a little bit into the hand as you peel open. Good. Last full breath here. And release out of that. Bring the right hand back to the floor. Step back to plank pose. Finish out your vinyasa, chaturanga, cobra or up dog, and then downward facing dog. Good, you guys. All right, back to your knees, and we're going to take one more dolphin pose. All right, forearms to the floor. Set it up. Elbows shoulder width apart. Let your head go. Pick up your knees. And again, maybe tiptoe forward toward your face. You can keep it in regular dolphin, or this time around, maybe you take the right leg up for a few breaths. Coming into that three-legged variation of dolphin pose. Use your core here, pull belly in and up, relax your neck, take another breath, and then switch it up. So right foot goes down and send your left leg back and reach it up. Take another breath here. Bring your left foot back to the mat. Take one more breath in dolphin, maybe a sigh out your mouth. And a little bit of a different transition, you guys. You're going to walk your feet back, and drop down into Sphinx pose. You just bring your pelvis down, shoulders a little bit behind the elbows, open up the chest. It should feel pretty good. Take another breath here. Traction through your spine, your low back. And then exhale, come back down. This is our last little hurrah here. We're going to work with Locust Pose one more time, and then potentially come into Chandrasana or bow pulling. So let's first start with Locust. So lifting arms and legs up away from the ground, opening up the chest, put a little bend in your elbows. Try to squeeze those shoulder blades and elbows toward one another. Maybe clasping your hands behind your back. You want to go that route. Imagine you had a block between your thighs or your ankles. Squeeze in 2 more breaths. Maybe lift up through your heart a little bit. And then exhale, release. Turn your head to one side. You're going to rest one of the backs of one of your hands on your low back. Good. All right, last one here, you guys. You can stick with Locust, or if you want to work with bow pulling, bend both legs, grab a hold of the tops of the feet or even down by your ankles and flex your feet back. Gives you a little more leverage. And then kick into your hands enough to pull the shoulder heads back. Maybe that's your pose. You can keep it there. Now, I like to lift my thighs up and push the soles of my feet up toward the ceiling and then kick back even more. And try to ground the thighs. This is a really nice assist, like when we can actually be around each other and touch each other again, to have someone lift your shoulder heads back and ground your thighs. Even sit on the feet. Take 2 more breaths here, everybody. Good. Release out of that. Turn your head the other way. And you rest the back of your other hand on your low back. Good. Press up to your hands and your knees. And a couple rounds of cat-cow. Or you could even sit all the way to child's pose for a few breaths. Take your time, but we are going to go ahead and transition onto our backs. You can swing
Bring your legs out in front of you. Roll down onto your backs and hug your knees in toward your chest. Rock a little bit side to side. Starting to wind this down to this back release pose. Now, if a happy baby would feel really good too here, which it might, go ahead and reach for your feet. Grab a hold at the outer edges of your feet. Soles of the feet face up. Good. It might feel nice to move around a little bit here, rocking side to side. Good. Now, release out of that. Bring the sole of the left foot to the ground and cross the outer right ankle over top of the left leg. Figure 4 or reclined pigeon pose. This is also a really great back release. Maybe picking up the left foot and reaching the hands through and pulling this figure 4 shape toward your chest or toward the body. Make sure your neck is relaxed, your jaw, your face. Good. One more breath here. And then let's go ahead and switch the side. So release out of that, plant your right foot to the ground and cross your left ankle up and over the right leg. So figure 4. Again, you could pick up your right foot if you want and hold on to the back of your leg and draw this figure 4 shape a little bit closer to you. Take another full breath here. Release out of that and stretch both legs out the floor. Reach your arms up and back. So give a nice length and stretch of the entire body, top to bottom. And then exhale, let your arms come down and open up your palms, setting up for Shavasana, Locust Pose. Now, if you're not quite ready for Shavasana, if you feel like you might need a spinal twist or an inversion or any last finishing pose or sequence, you're welcome to do that at any point. And then when you're ready, you can let your body settle into Shavasana. I just like to revisit this poem by David White called The Journey. Again, coming back to this notion of re-emergence, of coming out into a new way of being, a new chapter through our changing of seasons and turning of the tides. Above the mountains, the geese turn into the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens, so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that small, bright, and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving. You are arriving. Welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. Please don't feel rushed. As you are ready, you can start to make your way back up to your seat. You can move side to side or move your fingers and your toes. Shift over to a fetal position. And then come back up to your seat. And on your next in-breath, stretch and lengthen up through your arms. And bring the hands together in front of the heart. Finish with one round of Om, if you'd like to join in. Full breath in.